Wouldn't be Ryan the Great, and today we are talking the Philadelphia Eagles, guys, and their win over the Kansas City Chiefs. A very gutsy win from the Philadelphia Eagles, very close win from the Philadelphia Eagles, and I do apologize there was no preview and predictions video for the Philadelphia Eagles. I did predict them to win, though. There's a sheet that I fill out before the season, my wins and losses. Sometimes I change it up on the video, but I did predict the Eagles to beat the Chiefs over this weekend, and that did end up happening. The reason I didn't have that video out is because I was so focused on St. Joe's Prep. We played St. Francis Academy in football this past weekend, and maybe you did or didn't see it. Jet Harrison, the younger brother of Marvin Harrison Jr., went off with 6 catches, 182 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I was on commentary for that game as a color analyst, and it was a really good game. St. Joe's Prep didn't come away with the win, but we took the number 4 team in the country to the limit, and now we move on to Our Lady of Good Counsel, the 4th best team in Maryland next week. But yeah, it was a great game. So that's the reason I didn't have the prediction video out this past weekend. So that's probably like the first time I just forgot to do a video. I've done it a couple times. Maybe I've done it a couple times before. I probably have, but I don't really remember. But anyway, let's just get right into this video. But before we get right into it, guys, make sure you subscribe with your post notifications on. Go subscribe to my brother Great Blogs. Make sure you subscribe to my second channel at Around the Combat Great. Make sure you guys can follow me on X at RTG. Make sure you guys can follow me on TikTok at Around the RTG. Make sure you guys go listen to the latest edition of the TR7 podcast. And make sure you guys go follow me on Instagram at Ryan Sully Sports Media. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get right into the video. So starting off with the Eagles, their offense and their quarterback, Jalen Hurts. A very interesting game for Jalen Hurts. Like, I don't really know how to feel about it. On one end, he didn't lose us the game. He didn't throw an interception, didn't have a turnover, so he didn't lose us the game. But at the same time, he only threw for just over 100 yards and threw the ball for more than 6 yards once. So it's very hard to judge the game for Jalen Hurts because nothing much, like, he didn't do anything spectacular, but he also didn't lose us the game at the same time. What I will say is that the Chiefs' defense was really good. Hurts did make that clutch throw to Devontae Smith, and Devontae Smith, give him credit. We'll talk about that catch in just a few moments. Made a really nice play as well. So I would just say it's an okay game. Like, nothing spectacular happened, but also nothing happened to the point where, Jalen Hurts was bad, more or less. I mean, he wasn't great, but he wasn't bad either. So, it was just okay. Moving on to our running back, Saquon Barkley. I'd say a pretty good game. The offensive line opened up the holes. Barkley didn't really need to do anything special. I talked about in the Cowboys game how he was just jump cutting through holes that he saw were open. But the offensive line, for the most part, did a pretty good job of opening up their assigned gaps. And we know what Barkley brings to the table. He uses power on the second level to keep the Eagles moving. Did that on a plethora of occasions, especially in the second half, to keep the Eagles moving, and in the fourth quarter, so the Eagles could drain the clock just a bit more. So a very solid game from Saquon Barkley. Not over 100 yards rushing, but a touchdown in the game. Very solid for Saquon Barkley. I'll definitely take it on the day. And we can't always expect 100 yards rushing. I mean, the defense also did their job as well. And Jalen Hurts, whatever, you can say what you want. Anyway, moving on to wide receivers, and starting off with A.J. Brown. The only route he really ran was that sort of crossing route / slant / in route. I don't really know what the route is. In the beginning, when he was with the Eagles, he really ran it as a slant. Now he's just kind of turned it more into an in. I don't know. The route is very interesting to look at. It's a combined route of everything I just said. But anyway, it worked pretty much all game. That's really the only route he ran all game. And I mean, once again, if it's not broke, don't fix it. But he didn't get really any yards after the catch, which is, I wouldn't say is concerning, but it kind of is at the same time, because A.J. Brown is a guy that can get yards after the catch, and we know how powerful he is. But there really was no route tree for A.J. Brown, though they were double teaming him on pretty much any other route that he ran except for the route I just described. So like it's kind of hard to get a game plan for him or utilize him when, Hurts was looking at him. It's not like with the Cowboys where he really wasn't looking at him. Hurts was looking at him and trying to get him the football, but he was double teamed the whole time. So there's not really much you can ask Jalen Hurts to do, or Kevin Patullo. I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. You can't ask really much of anything from A.J. Brown's getting double teamed the whole time. So once again, I'm not concerned. We know that A.J. Brown can get the football. They're literally just double teaming him a lot. Moving on to Devontae Smith, a very clutch catch to help us win the game. Got his head around, got his body around, got his eyes around, and was able to really make a really incredible grab. Most receivers can't really turn around and make that sort of grab like just in the snap of your fingers. So a really nice play from him. Other than that, I'm very confused this season on when he catches a route, he just stops and tries to get his footing down and go inside instead of just taking the sideline. Normally when he does his crossing routes, he just takes the sideline, which is fundamentally correct and also what he used to do. Now he's just doing this thing where he'll stop, try to make a move, and go inside. I'm not really a fan of it, in my opinion. Maybe that's just me, but I just don't like it. So I'm hoping next week he decides to take the sideline and try to get those yards after the catch, because I understand what he's trying to do, which is get yards after the catch, but it's not really working. So I don't know. Dotson, I don't even remember his catch. He had one catch for 4 yards. I don't remember it happening, but I guess it did. But really, the only thing I want to see from him is running down the field and making a 50-yard grab. As I said against the Cowboys, if he's good for 1 or 2 of those per game, I will take it. Like, if that's the receiver he needs to be, then I will 100% take that. And then moving on to Grant Calcaterra, nothing much really from him. I know Granson made a catch, but I think it was on some RPO. Rollout from Hurts, so there really wasn't much to it. Calcaterra really was a blocker this entire game, more of what he is, regardless of whether Dallas Goedert is in there or not. Hopefully, we can get Goedert back sooner rather than later. Feels like we're having this repeating train with Goedert where he is continuously injured, especially in the lower area, so hopefully he can get back and perform at the level he performed at against the Dallas Cowboys, which I thought was pretty good. Moving on to our offensive line, very solid game from everybody. The Chiefs, with a team known for their defense, and their pass rush is always solid with Karlaftis and Chris Jones there, but I thought we had a pretty good game. Hurts had a ton of time in the pocket for the most part. Only 2 sacks given up to a very good Chiefs defense. I think that until Saquon Barkley had 7 stacked in the box against him, they really opened up the running lanes for him. I really loved our performance from everybody. I thought it was a really good job overall. Not really much criticism for them. And then moving on to our defense and our defensive line. The pressure on Mahomes was okay. I really feel like the pressure needs to be better. It's been a concern, in my opinion, to start the season. We actually just need to keep him in the pocket. Like, when Mahomes would have time, don't get me wrong. But I felt like, other than when he ran around and just miraculously scored the touchdown on the rushing play, when we got him out of the pocket, we held him to at least 3-4 yards, which is what maybe Pacheco or Kareem Hunt would get on a play. But when we would leave the A-gap open, he would just easily run right through there, and he would get around 10 to 20 yards. So we have to make sure that that gap is closed going forward, because, if we have to face whenever we face other great running quarterbacks, Mahomes obviously can run, but there are obviously quarterbacks who do it a little bit better than him. So when we face those type of quarterbacks, we have to make sure that that A-gap is not open, because a real quarterback that can really rush the ball very well, better than Mahomes, will definitely take that any day of the week. So we have to make sure that that's covered up. I thought our run defense was pretty decent. Nothing spectacular. It's not like we held them to 2 yards per carry, but I think we held Pacheco to around 3-something yards per carry off the top of my head. Jalen Carter definitely made his presence known. Got a couple pressures on Mahomes. Davis, solid game as well. And then moving on to our linebackers, Bone had a quarterback hit, but overall I didn't really feel the impact of him. Wasn't involved in too many plays. I think the first level did their job of kind of getting the running backs from behind and also taking them down at the line of scrimmage. Once again, just more of the first level. But I guess you can't expect an all-pro performance for every game. He didn't lead the tackles, which has to, he's probably led the tackles, or led the team in tackles for however many consecutive weeks. I would like to know how many times he led the team in tackles for consecutive weeks, because I think it was DeJean that led in tackles this week. And Campbell, solid. Once again, not much of an impact was felt. Not good, not bad. Just waiting for Nakobe Dean to come back and see how he can be used, but Campbell doing very good in his role. Our defensive backs, Mitchell really didn't get the ball thrown his way that much. He did get a PI call that I thought was kind of BS, but it's okay. Dory Jackson, I gave him a pass last week because he was guarding CeeDee Lamb. This week, it didn't look any better. He can't break down on his tackles. He's terrible at finding wide receivers out of their breaks. It just really wasn't an overall good performance from Dory Jackson. And the Chiefs wide receivers, they're without Xavier Worthy. They're without Rashee Rice. This is a team that has some decent wide receiver talent, but are without their best wide receivers. So there should be no reason why we're getting, why we're looking like high schoolers out there. It just wasn't a good performance from Adoree Jackson. The team was okay. Not the greatest game covering Travis Kelce. I thought he could have done a lot better. It felt like he was going more for Travis Kelce and not the ball. There were too many occasions, especially when Kelce caught some crosser over the middle. I believe it was in the first half, or maybe it was the second half. I don't remember, but one of the crossers that Kelce caught, it actually was in the second half. Now that I remember correctly, DeJean was just kept trying to I don't know what he was doing. He just wasn't really making a good tackle. He wasn't really going low on his tackles. I don't know. I get DeJean led the team in tackles, but I just didn't feel like it was a great game for him. His tackling forms, he made a few open field tackles, but really in the second half, it wasn't a good performance. Blankenship was solid, not much out of him, and Mukaba, right place, right time, clutch interception. The run back was great, helped us get the touchdown, got us out to the 40. Credit, though, to Josh Simmons for making the tackle on Mukaba. That would have been a pick six. But right place, right time for Mukaba, and credit to him for actually catching the ball. Some DBs would drop that, as the saying goes. Defensive backs are receivers who can't catch. So coaching, I thought play calling offensively has got to be a lot better, because there were some occasions where Jalen was just standing there, and you could see that there was cover two, and just the middle of the field was wide open, and that's how you really take advantage of cover two. So I thought that really has got to be better. That was not good. And then defensive game plan, I thought it was solid. We rushed Mahomes a couple times, which I did like. So we did need it, because the front four we're not really getting home on many occasions. Just got to cover the A gap a little better, but that's on the players. Bottom line, solid game from everybody. There was nothing too spectacular that happened. Offensive play calling has got to be a bit better, and we got to figure out a way to get A.J. Brown open. Because we got to get our best player involved, and also for fantasy players' sakes, because I'm tired of hearing about it. But yeah, that'll do for this video, guys. Make sure you guys subscribe with your post notifications on. Go subscribe to my Brother in the Great blog. Especially subscribe to my second channel at Around the Combat Great. Make sure you guys go follow me on X Around the Great RTG. Make sure you guys go follow me on TikTok at Around the Great RTG. Make sure you guys go listen to the latest edition of the CR7 podcast, and make sure you guys go follow me on Instagram at Ryan Sully Sports Media. And as always, Ryan the Great out. Peace.